Whether it's the Myers-Briggs test, or the Enneagram, or astrology, what have you, it seems like everyone is trying to figure out their personality these days. Personally, I'm more of a what kind of pizza are you BuzzFeed quiz kind of guy. Supreme pizza, of course. But either way, if any of that piques your interest, then you should check out Emotional Intelligence. So if you want to know more about this quick party game about deducing your friend's personality types that's on Kickstarter now, then might I suggest... Hi, I'm Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. On today's episode of Fresh from the Cellar, we're going to be talking about another game that just launched on Kickstarter called Emotional Intelligence from designer Julie Chen and Hawberry Games. Emotional Intelligence is a personality-driven, deduction-style party game for 2 to 6 players that plays in about 15 to 30 minutes. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview so you can get the general gist of how to play. Then I'm going to talk about some of the things I liked and didn't like about the game. And then I'm going to talk about the types of people that I think would really like this game. I hope that at the end of it, you'll have a great idea of whether or not you should back Emotional Intelligence. So without further ado, let's get into it. Will Emotional Intelligence be the perfect game for you? Let's find out, shall we? The gameplay of Emotional Intelligence is super simple, which is really great for a party game like this. At the beginning of the game, each player will take a random personality card from the top of the deck. This will be your hidden role for the rest of the round. You'll be keeping this personality type secret from everybody else, but you'll still have to answer questions throughout the game that'll give people clues as to what you are. After everyone has a personality type, you'll also draw 3 this or that cards and take a deduction pad to write notes on. You'll also put the card placement guide in the middle of the table for everyone to see. This guide shows the 4 personality categories: energy expression, decision-making, info processing, and temperament. These categories are loosely based off the Myers-Briggs types, so hopefully that helps put it in perspective. On your turn, you can do one of 2 things. Either you can choose the question, or you can choose the category. If you want to choose the question, you'll roll the category dice and take one of the this or that questions from your hand and place it in that category. Now, if you don't like the questions in your hand and you want to choose the category instead, you can simply declare one of the 4 categories and then flip a card from the top of the this or that deck onto that space. After a this or that question has been revealed, players will go clockwise one by one, starting with the person who played the card, and answer the question with one of the 2 options in a way that's true to their hidden personality.
Dear Susie, I have been trying very hard to make friends, but I feel people do not like my personality.
Write any notes you want to take down on your deduction pad, draw back up to 3 cards, and pass control to the next player. This process will continue until there are at least 2 question cards in each category, at which point you can start guessing.
I know the answer to this question. Raise your hand.
Anybody? Anyone?
If you think you have someone's personality all figured out, instead of playing a question card on your turn, you can instead choose to instigate. When you instigate, you'll choose a player around the table whose personality you want to guess. Then everyone at the table, aside from the one being guessed of course, will write down what personality type they think that person is. When everyone has locked in their answer, you'll start from the player to the left of the instigator, and players will have to state their guesses one at a time. When one of the players guesses, the guessee has to tell them how many of the 4 categories they got correct, without telling them which ones were the correct ones. The instigator guesses last, and hopefully by this time they'll have enough information to corroborate what their guess was. And they'll need all the information they can get, because they'll need to get 3 of the 4 personality categories correct in order to score any points at all. But being the instigator does have its benefits, because if you get 3 or 4 of the answers correct, you'll get double points. Play will continue on until all players have been instigated once, and then the player who has presumably made the most correct guesses, or simply has the most points, wins. Anyways, I hope this overview is enough to give you a good sense of what Emotional Intelligence is all about. So let's jump into my thoughts on this game. Emotional Intelligence totally feels like one of those fun BuzzFeed personality quizzes in a lot of ways. I mean, it's full of really fun and cute questions like Mac or Windows, zombies or vampires, or would you rather know the cause or time of your death? Anyways, it's always fun to learn about different personality types, right? I think the really interesting thing about this game is that in most personality-driven games, you kind of need to know a little bit about the people that you're playing with for it to be fun. But I think that Emotional Intelligence might actually be better for people that you've never met before, because it invites you into that conversation about your real personality once your in-game personality has been revealed. I also thought it was really fun to add a little bit of roleplay into the mix. We all enjoyed pretending to be these different personality types and dropping little hints here and there with our acting.
You two seem very familiar. It's called acting.
I also like that the questions come in a this or that format. It really limits the decision space so you don't have to do too much thinking when you're coming up with your answers. Some of the questions seem super easy to answer and really relevant when they're placed on the right category, but when it's on a category that doesn't make a lot of sense, it really makes you reframe the question and adds to the intrigue. I also think that this game is fun when you play it, but even more fun after the game is over. It's really fun to hear the reasoning behind why people said what they said during the game. I mean, in our plays of it, several people came to the same conclusion and the same answer, but for totally different reasons. It's really interesting to pick people's brains after the game is over, and I feel like that helps you understand their real life personality even better.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Now, there are a few things that I will point out. If you play this game with a group of people that you're really familiar with, it might be a little difficult to separate the in-game personalities from their real-life personalities. That's again why I think this game is better for people that you don't really know. I also think that if you play the game the way that it's meant to be played, the super simple mechanics might get a little bit old after a while. But if you're like my gaming group, and you'd rather just go through the this or that cards and ask yourself those questions and start a discussion afterwards, that gives a whole new life to the game, which I really enjoy. I think the discussions and the conversations that emotional intelligence provokes is where this game really shines, and I think is the main reason why we really enjoyed it. It ends up being a lighthearted but really thought-provoking game that provides a safe space for you to connect with the other people around your table, which to me is the whole point of playing board games in the first place. So anyways, let's talk about the types of people that I think would really enjoy this game. Here's the type of people that I think would really like this game. If you're like me and you love taking those online personality quizzes just to get a little bit of a temperature check on what you're feeling like on that day, then you should check out this game. Also, if you're a fan of those hit and roll deduction games, but you really don't like lying, then you should definitely check this game out. And lastly, if you just want a fun and quick party game that'll spark some really amazing conversations and help you get to know your friends a little bit better, then might I suggest Emotional Intelligence. Thanks so much for sticking around for this episode of Fresh from the Cellar. I hope this video gives you a great idea on whether or not you should back this game on Kickstarter. If you're interested in it, I'll leave a link below in the description for you to check out. And while you're there, don't forget to hit subscribe and that little bell button so you can get notified when I post new content. Anyways, thanks so much for everyone who supported me so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep growing this channel and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.